The next clip captures a Russian soldier sitting inside a shallow trench, appearing to drift into sleep after prolonged fatigue. Unaware of the threat overhead, he remains motionless as a Ukrainian drone descends and commits, ending the moment abruptly under direct aerial observation. The following situation unfolds inside a village in the Donetsk direction. A Ukrainian drone observes a Russian soldier pulling a small supply cart as he moves deeper into the settlement. After covering some distance, the soldier stops along the roadside beside a utility pole and sits down to rest. Moments later, he appears to realize he is being watched from above. In an unusual reaction, the soldier picks up a stick and scratches crude words into the dirt, reading "loser," as if addressing the drone directly. Unsatisfied, he gathers broken roof tiles nearby and arranges them on the ground to make the message more visible from the air. After finishing, he leaves the cart behind and walks away from the spot. Only a few steps later, the movement ends abruptly when the soldier accidentally steps onto a hidden landmine placed along the route. The following scene unfolds beneath a damaged porch in the Zaporizhia area. A Ukrainian drone hovers overhead, observing a Russian soldier standing in partial cover. Aware of the aircraft, the soldier repeatedly raises his hands and clasps them together, gesturing as if pleading for the drone to leave. The movements suggest fear and hesitation, rather than a clear attempt to surrender. Moments later, a second Ukrainian drone arrives and commits to the position. The initial strike knocks the soldier to the ground, leaving him unable to stand, likely due to a leg injury. With the position now fixed and movement restricted, another drone approaches shortly afterward and completes the engagement under continued aerial control. The sequence unfolds in the Pokrovsk direction, where a Ukrainian drone targets a Russian dugout positioned close to the front line. The first strike disrupts the shelter and forces several Russian soldiers to rush outside in confusion. They gather near the entrance, attempting to assess the situation and maintain control of the position. A few raise their weapons toward the approaching drones, but the response is ineffective. A Ukrainian drone closes distance and commits into the exposed group, breaking any attempt at coordination and forcing an immediate collapse of the defense. In the moments that follow, some soldiers retreat back into the dugout, while others remain outside, lying still near the entrance, hoping immobility will reduce their visibility. The aerial view removes that uncertainty. When one soldier cautiously lifts his head from inside the shelter, another Ukrainian drone descends and engages without delay. Inside the dugout, debris from the earlier strike partially blocks the exit, slowing movement and increasing confusion. After several seconds, one soldier manages to force his way out and runs toward a second nearby shelter. Another follows closely, crawling across the ground in an attempt to relocate. The maneuver is tracked in real time. A Ukrainian drone maintains observation, confirms the new position, and commits against the secondary shelter. The sequence illustrates how repeated movement, hesitation, and reliance on dugouts offer little protection once aerial surveillance establishes control and escape options disappear. The next scene shows a group of Russian soldiers evacuating a wounded comrade along a dirt road. As they move in a tight formation, a Ukrainian drone approaches from above. The aircraft commits quickly, striking the center of the group and halting the evacuation under direct aerial pressure. The following footage takes place inside a village in the Pokrovsk direction. The Ukrainian drone detects and tracks a Russian soldier moving cautiously through the settlement. As the sound of a Ukrainian drone engine becomes audible overhead, the soldier panics and runs toward a roadside house, stopping beneath a tree in an attempt to hide. Moments later, a Ukrainian drone descends and attacks the position, but a technical malfunction prevents the munition from detonating. Using the brief opportunity, the soldier moves again, crossing into a neighboring building and entering a small storage shed to seek cover. Another Ukrainian drone follows and attacks, but detonates outside the structure before reaching the interior. Seconds later, a third drone attempts to enter the shed, yet once again fails to explode due to technical issues. The soldier exits through the rear of the shed and moves a short distance before another Ukrainian drone strikes near his position. Exhausted and disoriented, he collapses and lies still, attempting to recover. The pause is short-lived. Moments later, another Ukrainian drone arrives, confirms the location, and commits to the final engagement, illustrating how persistent aerial tracking steadily eliminates escape options, even when technical failures briefly delay the outcome. A Ukrainian drone descends toward a Russian tank parked near a forest edge. After the initial strike, smoke begins to rise from the vehicle. Moments later, a secondary explosion erupts, confirming internal damage and fully disabling the tank at the position. The following situation unfolds inside a forest in the Lyman direction. A Ukrainian drone conducts a systematic search for Russian troops operating among the trees. One soldier is spotted standing on a road ahead, but the drone bypasses him and instead commits toward another soldier positioned on the back of a vehicle nearby. Not far away, two additional soldiers attempt to evade detection by circling around a tree as another Ukrainian drone closes in. The footage shows that hiding behind trunks, rapid movement, or thermal camouflage offers little protection once aerial tracking is established. The next footage unfolds along a forest edge near a ruined residential area, recorded by a Ukrainian drone. A Russian soldier is seen hiding among the trees, relying on cover and distance to remain concealed. As the drone closes in, panic sets in. The soldier breaks into a run, weaving between trunks and undergrowth in an attempt to escape observation. From above, the movement is tracked smoothly. The operator maintains alignment, anticipating the route. As the soldier reaches the edge of the destroyed buildings, his path is cut off. The drone commits, ending the attempt to flee. The next scene unfolds along a forest edge near an active, contested area. A Ukrainian drone strikes the entrance of a dugout believed to be occupied by Russian soldiers concealed inside. After the initial impact, movement becomes visible at the opening. An arm emerges briefly, signaling surrender. Moments later, two Russian soldiers begin clearing branches and debris from the entrance, cautiously forcing their way out of the shelter. As they emerge, both raise their hands high, moving slowly away from the dugout and across a grassy strip toward a nearby forest edge indicated by the drone overhead. Their movement is deliberate and unhurried, guided by aerial observation rather than shouted commands. Upon reaching the designated spot at the tree line, both soldiers lie face down on the ground with their hands placed over their heads. Shortly afterward, a Ukrainian soldier steps out from a nearby position and approaches, calling to the two men and directing them to follow him toward a nearby shelter, concluding the encounter without further resistance. The next sequence takes place along a shallow trench close to the front line. A Russian soldier is seen resting inside the position when a Ukrainian drone suddenly descends and strikes a nearby shelter adjacent to the trench. The blast triggers immediate confusion. Soldiers positioned along the trench scramble to flee, but they cover only a short distance before another drone closes in and commits, cutting off the escape. Nearby, two additional soldiers attempt to withdraw, only to be intercepted by a separate Ukrainian drone. The sequence highlights how layered aerial pressure rapidly collapses trench positions once movement is detected. The scene unfolds on open ground near Pokrovsk. A Russian soldier focuses upward, attempting to engage a drone hovering overhead. His attention stays fixed on the visible threat. From a different angle, a second Ukrainian drone approaches quietly, closing distance without warning and removing any remaining chance to react. The next situation unfolds across an abandoned agricultural field in the Pokrovsk direction. A Ukrainian drone detects a lone Russian soldier moving steadily across the open terrain. The aircraft immediately drops to a lower altitude and accelerates toward the target. During the first approach, the drone overshoots slightly and is forced to pull back and realign. On the ground, the soldier remains calm and continues walking, seemingly unaware of the danger. When the drone commits a second time, the realization comes too late. The soldier breaks into a run, but the distance has already closed, and the engagement follows within seconds. The next clip is recorded by a Ukrainian reconnaissance drone. From above, the aircraft accelerates toward the base of a lone tree where a Russian soldier is concealed. The approach is swift and controlled. As the drone closes in, the soldier manages only a brief glance upward before the engagement concludes. Near the Pokrovsk direction, a Ukrainian drone tracks 3 Russian soldiers moving along a dirt road. As they reach a small signal structure and stop to inspect it, their pause creates a clear pattern from above. The drone confirms spacing and position, then descends and commits, ending the movement before it can continue. The next sequence shows a Ukrainian drone closing in on a Russian soldier moving along a dirt road. As the aircraft approaches, the soldier suddenly panics and breaks into a run, but the distance collapses too quickly. Nearby, a second Russian soldier attempts to flee as another Ukrainian drone descends. He stumbles and falls before reaching cover, leaving no time to recover or escape. A Ukrainian drone detects a group of Russian soldiers moving into ruined houses inside a heavily damaged village in the Pokrovsk direction. From above, their paths are tracked as they disperse between separate structures seeking cover. One drone follows closely and commits on the first building. Moments later, additional Ukrainian drones arrive, each redirected toward confirmed movement. One by one, the occupied structures are engaged. The sequence shows how ruined urban terrain offers limited protection once aerial tracking establishes continuous control over every entry point.